It is recording right now.
That's recording.
It's very much recording.
That's where edits come in, you know what I'm saying?
All right, cool. All right. So, the list of things that we be talking about, like I was, have you all agreed upon, is like mental health. Then the second topic is emotional intelligence. And then the third topic would be polyamory. You know, as we're thinking about mental health, I just give like my quick articulations on the process of what mental health is.
Yeah.
I personally believe mental health is someone, individual, checking in with their mental state and how they're feeling about themselves. And it's such an important thing because it's hard to make intelligible to others in society because not everyone is in our head. Only we are in our own heads. So I believe that this topic is important with everything that's going on today, is to check in on our sense of depression, anxiety, anger, rage, trauma, and also happiness too, and the positive emotions as well. So if you might want to piggyback, please feel free.
I think that there's also a lot with that too, right? Where it's like, I mean, let's be honest, capitalism don't give you that big of a margin to fail, right? So it's like, there is that level of like, look, we ain't kids no more, we got to figure out something right here. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we got people in life that care about us, but we still got to figure shit out for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've all known people who's fallen off right there. And that's the thing where it's like, in this world that we currently live in right now, we have to keep doing what we do, and there's not that safety net in the same way. And that's something that will weigh on the back of our heads. So I look at this shit as like, can you do what you need to do? And after that, can you enjoy your life? And can you know what I'm saying, just live it the most in the moment. And I feel like having that's good mental health. There could be little things here and there, but everybody's got little things.
All right, so Tyshawn, you look at, you had a deep explanation on mental health of like your current state of how you feel, and a lot of connection to emotions. And Trey, you feel there's a lot of societal things that affect it. Personally, I think that honestly, I remember seeing Big Sean. I think he was talking to Joe Budden, and he just said, "Yo, you know, one thing he realized was mental health is just health," and I can definitely, I think that, I mean, of course, mental health we know is talking about it can connect and tie into more emotional things in your state of being, but when we think about everything that does play into your emotions, at the end of the day, it does come back to health. So when I like think about, when you just think about how you feel, even when it comes to anxiety, you might feel a lot of anxiety for a period because you've been eating a lot of fast food. Like I remember in Richfield, because I live next to like Wendy's, Burger King, you remember all the shit was next to me, and I was eating that shit because I didn't cook, and then I just felt so much anxiety and stress because of all of that processed food I was feeling. So like mental health is a big spectrum, but there is a lot that play into it, but your health and how you take care of it is probably the biggest role. And I can let y'all can also chime in on this, but one thing I think that's even more new that everybody and even science is trying to figure out is how this new era with technology evolving, a lot of our social constructs being on these devices and how it affects our mental health and well-being has kind of made things even more tricky, because now you're worried about notifications versus like, did you eat or did you get enough sleep, which also play into your well-being. So there's a lot of layers to it, but that's kind of one thing. I think it's important for anybody who is looking to improve their mental health to simplify it for themselves, because it's very complex and it's different for everybody. But simplifying it for yourself and understanding what areas you're not satisfied in, or what is necessarily the emotions you are trying to recognize and find, and domesticating those emotions so they don't throw you off your balance so you can continue living healthy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Do you guys have any thoughts or articulations on the phenomenon or concept of what mental health means to you guys?
I just like what Vlad said. When it eventually just comes back to health instead of because like if you're worried about like where to start, simplifying it is something I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something obvious. I think about it every day. I mean, I've had some severe mental breakdowns. Y'all kind of witnessed it on the outside, and y'all been there personally to see it. So, I think mental health has been something I think I actively thinking about probably every day of my life since 18, to be honest. But I think the things that I try to think about is what ways I wake up trying to think about what ways can I wake up and find some joy in the day. And sometimes it could be as simple as getting back to bed and just getting some rest. It could be as simple as that to something small like, okay, today I'm gonna take myself out of the issues. Or today in particular, I didn't feel that working would have been best for my headspace with everything going on. So I was like, all right, let me enjoy the sun. Let me get outside as much as I can, and let me get back in the gym and making necessary steps and just trying, bro. Like I think that sometimes it's just about trying and knowing that you are doing the work. Because at the end of the day, it's up to you to control what you can control and find a way to find some satisfaction within your day to day.
Yeah, and if I would piggyback, on that too, it could be the simple things when addressing our mental health or taking care of our mental health, as of, like you said, going to bed, eating better food, your nutrition, right? It affects how we feel versus process. And one thing that I do for my mental health, sometimes I'm still figuring myself out. I don't know if I hold things in because I feel like I'm a very outspoken person in general, but there's still a lot that's under there that doesn't necessarily come up, and holding that in unconsciously, it can explode and it leaks out into other areas of my life. So for example, I've been thinking about the fact that I'm going to turn 27 soon, So I'm like, oh snap, I'm getting close to turning 30, woo woo woo. But there's another special thing because I've been thinking about my uncle a lot, like something personal to me, And he went to prison at 27, for a heinous crime or whatever. And I know I'm not on that path, but I'm starting to investigate my life. Well, I got pretty close here. Shit could have got savage here, and I got very, very, very lucky. And just talking to my mom helps. Just to remind me, you are not him. And that he loves you. So I guess what I'm trying to say with my mental health is it's been really helpful to have people in my corner who I know who truly loves me unconditionally. Because in this human experience, people will turn their back on you, and sometimes, it's nothing personal, even though it feels personal. But I'm starting to take it less personal because maybe it's better for me to process.
I do think mental health is interesting in that it often feels like you're isolated because it is something that happens in my head. And so it feels like something that I'm dealing with on my own. But the ability to communicate what you're going through, what you need, getting that support is so integral into being able to deal with it. And I think that that's a facet that we can all work on in terms of understanding in society, like what mental health is and what mental health needs can be, what it can look like. I feel like a lot of people have ideas of mental health based on what the media makes it perceived to be. And so they don't understand what a panic attack looks like if it's happening, or they don't understand like I have psychosis, so like they're like, I don't know what that is. Like being able to spread awareness that way can be really helpful, just so that people can be empathetic and supportive. So what is going on in your head can exit your head in a way when you have the support. I think that's really important.
That empathy really just kind of strikes me as tying into like representation too, right? Like, you know, in order to understand some things, like somebody can hear it, but like there's only so much someone can see it, right? And sometimes people aren't like conditioned with this, like, do you even want to see this, right? Like, I can talk to someone about something and it's like, look, I don't give a fuck about this shit, right? You know, they could be talking about like ants, and I'm like, I don't know shit about ants. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not going to be thinking the next couple days about ants right there, because things aren't on our radar right there. And I think that is like, that's something where just even seeing representation with people that are going through shit, it allows people to even get a fraction of it. Like there are a lot of terrible portrayals of representation, let's be honest, with mental health. Like any horror movie ever, oh, he's crazy. Okay, he's just gonna kill 30 people, even though like, what are the actual numbers on people who are like, quote unquote, crazy actually doing that shit, right? But when there's positive representation, that doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah, and like, just to add on to that empathy piece and that representation piece, I feel like it's important for the younger generation out here to see people of color or women or people, whoever that fits into their demographics, quote unquote, which is a social construct, but affects us, to see like, wow, they deal with these things too, because like society has had this oxymoron of having us being connected with technology, but we're further apart more than ever, worlds apart more than ever. And I believe social media, you know, has had like a big impact on that. You know, you see a lot of people get their affirmations and their validations from likes and from a screen and retweets and shit. And like, I know like it feels good when people retweet like my stuff, whatever, you know. But I got to the point where even if nobody likes whatever I gotta say or anything, it's okay because I like what I gotta say. You know, and it's that integrity piece, you know. So, and I believe people cannot truly address their mental health if they're not honest with each other.
Honest
they're
with
not
themselves.
honest with, thank you. They're not honest with themselves, because we lie to ourselves sometimes subconsciously, don't even know it. You know, that's why, you know, I say the things that I say, not in the sense that I'm endorsing it or whatever, but because these things are in my mind. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to act out on them and do them to certain people, but to be honest, like, you know, I do think about these things, and you know, to be okay with that and to own your shit. You know, so like, I appreciate, you know, us being able to have this space where we can even just have a simple, genuine dialogue and conversation on it, because it's not enough. And even when it is, you know, I feel like it's too commercial. Whenever something is too commercial, I just don't trust the capitalism, corporate media, all that shit. You know, a lot of it's bullshit to sell people. But agendaless knowledge that just serves just to be learned, you know, I believe that's a good stepping stone in understanding ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. And also a really important part. I don't feel that's talked about enough is just the recognizing what's not healthy for you, or not good for your mental health, other than well-being. So like social media, I mean, the youth getting on social media on their phones, on their tablets, or even their parents who letting their kids on their tablets longer than they need to be, they're probably not thinking much of that the time that they're on their phones, right? Because, you know, we all, I mean, I know I have like an addiction on my phone.
social media.
Yeah, you
And
do.
I know a lot of that comes from like, so part of that comes from boredom, as well as I feel like my mind is trying to find something to distract me from something going on,
It's
or
yeah.
finding inspiration and motivation from something that I see so I can take action. But really, it just comes from idling a lot and just passing time because I don't want to sit with my own thoughts. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of how I happen sometimes.
I think they kind of linked it to like dopamine.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
dopamine. Yeah,
So it was,
there's so much. Yeah, it's a lot of dopamine for sure.
Yeah.
but,
So
There's a conversation you can have about that, like with emotional intelligence too.
right. Well,
But like, you know, even just staying there, like, yeah, like dopamine is a big thing. Like, we're in the infancy of dealing with social media. Like when they first had TV, shit was different. People first had cars, shit interacted different, right? There's so many different ways that we were doing shit. So I look at it as like, part of it will change, part of it will grow. Humans evolve, humans adapt.
It is interesting the amount of escapism you can find in digital worlds.
right.
But you know, that's the thing about not only like I don't want to just say social media, but just video games in general, especially more so for our era growing up, is that it was like the escape from reality or things that you have going on. But now reality is all on the internet, so it's kind of like we got to be comfortable in an era where you could be on like Tumblr or Twitter and kind of doing your own thing on the internet without like feeling the social media pressure. Whereas now, it's like everybody's on there and everybody's not even being themselves because they're trying to, you know, be mindful of, you know, what everybody else thinks about it, etc.
You know how glasses help you see, but they also make your eyes lazier?
Huh.
Did you know that?
Yeah, glasses don't.
Glasses help you see, but they make your eyes lazier. It makes your eyes worse, so your eyes can't function on their own as well.
I wonder,
Yeah, so social media is kind of like that for me, where it's like, it's easier for me to interact with people online, and I have social anxiety, right? So like, it's easier for me to interact with people online, but like, especially in this pandemic, I've become so accustomed to that, so catered to that way, it's even difficult for me to just like interact with real people now. And it's weird the way that social media functions to assist in connection but also hinder connection simultaneously.
Yeah, and I think that might be a thing too, more forward with the whole pandemic and people
it's
getting readjusted to society, or if we ever even do get to that point.
Like I mean, now we've elevated to a whole new ceiling, right? Zoom and you know, for people in school, online school, and you know, kids now, right? They can't be in school, they gotta be in Zoom. Like, imagine a 4-year-old trying to
Call
fucking
Zoomers.
Yeah.
man.
There's a Zoom dysmorphia that's kind of being developed right now.
It's true.
That people are like conscientious because they're staring at themselves the whole time, so they're kind of self-conscious about like how they look.
Yeah,
know,
like,
yeah, go ahead.
social media is like a multiplier, but like, we gotta remember that this didn't start with social media, right? Like, even looking back into like last 60 years, right? You know what I'm saying? As humanity changed how they lived, right? You know what I'm saying? Look at even like 1,000 years ago. There wasn't just social media as the only thing that's fucking different, right? You know what I'm saying? We're like, humanity has their areas where they have common spaces, public areas, right? They have the connection about who's around them. They live in the same region, so it's like, I'm gonna see you every day. So you can't feed me that bullshit at the end of the day. Like, I'm gonna call you out on it, like, yo, like, what's up? Like, you know, we out here for you like that. And there's not that same way when you can hide in your own, like, enclave in your apartment, in your house, and just be like, look, this is my area. And that's good at times. But like, that is how things started right there. And it's ramped up throughout time. And so that's one thing I want to like kind of learn about going forward, right? Is like, how did society adjust in those ways? Because those are the same questions we got to think about how to adjust society now.
And
That's
social media is definitely a tool. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's something that could be used for good or used for bad, but it's a tool, not morally either way.
I mean, how
I
many
think it's
debates do we have
interesting.
about terms of service and banning people, right? We are trying to figure out society's rules, right? This is like the common law of online culture that they're trying to let go through right now.
You know, like, I feel like part of a serious ethical dilemma is having people be forced into these social contracts where it's not actual, like, direct consent. And that affects our mental health.
I mean, you don't get
So-
direct consent to live.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, we don't have a direct consent to live. Like, it just happens by causality and a
What do you
chance.
mean by social contract?
Like, so for example, like, if I kill you, the police will come and arrest me.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I have the fear of punishment, of incentive, not to just go and murder anyone I want. Because we have a social contract of what is norms, of what is things are quote unquote right and wrong. What I was saying in particular, why I tied it into our mental health, is I believe that we're undergoing a process of living with the social contract while trying to advocate or monitor our own mental health. And I don't believe the social contract of society, particularly the American society, even fucking caters to mental health enough, because everything is so focused on the dollar, which is oversaturated market forces feeding us all this bullshit all the time. In reality, you know, we should be more focused on more pure values, such as community, family, love, laughter, understanding, you know. And like, I believe since the social contracts were equated to money, order, and obedience, you know, we see it now. The military is occupying our city.
That's it exactly.
You know?
People call the cops on people having mental breakdowns. And it's like there are actual institutions in place to deal with people who are having mental breakdowns, to help them and get them to where they need to be. But people call the cops. And so then these people are detained. They don't get the help. It's like a whole structural fuckery. Like,
So
it's fucking bizarre. You killed it. It's dead.